Good morning, good morning. This is March 17th, 2014, and I'm going to talk about and read a lesson from A Course in Miracles, lesson number 76. I am under no laws but God's. I am under no laws but God's. This is simply a fact. This is a statement of truth. I am under no laws but God's. Only my imagining of laws that do not exist and my adherence to my imagined laws does this seem not to be true. I am under no laws but God's. Or I'd have to extrapolate that God has laws that are not really part of His love and His life. The truth is I'm under no laws but God's. The truth is, I am under no laws but God's. So I'm going to read a little bit. We have observed before how many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You are not bound by them. Yet, to understand this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. While you would seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. While you seek for salvation in things that have no meaning at all, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. Thus, do you seek to prove salvation is where it is not? So for me, it's important to really identify what the idea of salvation is. What am I being saved from and saved or redeemed to? So for me today, on March 17th, I would say salvation is the remembrance of God and of the self that God made as you really are. That is free of the bounds of time and space. That rests in peace. That knows itself as love. And remembers that it is only life like its Father. So what do I need to be saved from? Ironically, the thing I need to be saved from are the very things I try to use to save myself. I need to be saved from my insane ideas of what saves me. Let's go on a little further. Today, we will be glad you cannot prove that salvation is where it is not. For if you could, you would forever seek salvation where it is not and never find it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. The idea for today, which is, I am under no laws but God's, tells me, once again, how simple is salvation. So, with that said, let's look for it where it waits for you, and there it will be found. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. Look nowhere else for salvation, for it is nowhere else. And yet, the mind that believes it's in the world and is constantly locating itself within time and space and identifying itself as a body is trying to solve this sense of malaise, this sense of connection, restore this communication that it's lacking, that it knows it's lacking, and is ashamed too, is hiding in this sense of lack of communication. It tries to restore itself with ideas that will not work and really don't threaten the self-image that it has made, that has created the problem to begin with. So ironically, the self-image primarily being the idea that we're a body. We try to solve the problem and not have the self-image be undone. And that's really what we have to question. That's what we really have to bring to question. What are we? Where are we? What the heck are we doing? You know, it would be very wise to say, I do not know where I am. I do not know what I am, and I have no idea what I'm doing. That's a very funny thing for someone who's ready to learn that lesson. Let's go on. Think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. Think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save yourself. You really think you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs. You really think you'd be under a bridge if you didn't have a bunch of money. You really think you'd starve if you were under a bridge. You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed through your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death. And you know, the truth is, you know that's not true. You know that's not true. The reality of it is you're totally enlightened and know that is not true. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you. There's nothing more lonely than feeling alone with a body next to you. It is insanity to think these things. So Jesus tells us in A Course in Miracles, the next sentence, it is insanity to think money is going to feed you, that medicine is going to heal you, and that some company is going to satisfy this sense of being alone. It is insanity to think these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose in truth. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, economics, and health. Protect the body and you'll be saved. Protect the body and you'll be saved. And ironically, the truth is you know that it's futile. There isn't anyone that does not know that you cannot protect the body. To align yourself, to believe yourself to be a body is to align yourself with weakness, and you know it. Salvation would be to align yourself to surrender to true strength, which is so far beyond the body that no one, once tasted, no one would question the reality of what I'm saying. And the truth is, everyone knows this. These are not laws, but madness. All these laws we're speaking of are not laws, but they're madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see that it is a victim of itself. The body's suffering is a mask. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. By identifying suffering of the body is to bring the mind to a very gross level of consciousness. It keeps it away from the subtler realms where the real longing for home can be felt, and where home can be found, where God can be found. So a sickness or a suffering of the body actually keeps the mind focused on the illusion of what one is, and actually tempts the mind to convince itself that it is a body because it's tempted to think that that's where the problem exists. But that's not where the problem exists. In fact, the thought that the problem exists there is the problem. The thought that the solution is there is the problem. Because we're misidentifying what we are. We are spirit. We are free. Our mind is capable of diving into a moment so fine that it's so far beyond the consciousness of a body that it soars in the memory of God as it dives deeper and deeper and deeper into the holy instant where time is meaningless and space does not exist. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. And it is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are a body. So this is interesting. It is from this your laws would save the body. And you know the body can't be saved. In fact, Jesus teaches us the body actually does not exist. And at any given moment, in the holy instant, the body disappears. And in the disappearance of the body, you are reminded of the magnitude of being, of love, of life that you are, that you share with all of creation in this holy moment. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over and over and over. There are no laws except the laws of God. There are no laws except the laws of God. There are no laws except the laws of God. Until you realize it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to God's will, you need to repeat this. There are no laws except the laws of God. Your magic, your beliefs on how this world works, your beliefs in sacrifice and fear and loss and the need to plan and the idea that you can be abandoned and be unabandoned, all these things need to be undone. And of course, they are all fathered by the one belief that you're separate, by the one belief that you need to maintain that separation, by the one belief that you will die if you are not separate. That's actually what it is. And of course, the idea of separation is what death is. The idea of separation is what manifested the illusion that you can die. The idea of separation is what manifested the body in the mind that knows no limit as itself. And yet it manifested the idea that it's limited, and then it associated itself with that limit and forgot what it was. Then, believing it was something that it is not, it's looked around in fear and saw cause and effect relationships that were not real and made up a whole maze of laws that do not exist except in the mind that made it up to defend something that does not exist, and that is in fact that because it does not exist must fall away, must fold into light, must crumble as all idols do. And of course the Son of God, which is you, knows this is true. And in your enlightenment, you panic, ironically, and try to defend something that cannot be defended. And in the end, you will not defend it. There are no laws except the laws of God. There are no laws except for the laws of God. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realize it applies to everything that you've made, everything that you imagine to be real in your mind, in your world. Your magic has no meaning here. Your magic has no meaning in truth. What is meant to save you does not exist. And again, what you are preoccupied with saving does not exist. Only what is meant to hide will save you. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. Only what the body identification is meant to hide will save you. Only what the guilt that you feel and projected and call a world that was designed to hide will save you. God waits for us behind and underneath and in between everything that we imagine that we see and that we imagine that we have to defend. God waits in stillness. The love of God waits right there. And there waits yourself. Your real self waits for you there. The laws of God can never be replaced. The idea that you've blown it does not exist. The idea that you could thwart God is not a real thing. The idea that you could lose favor with God is not true. The idea that you can die is not true. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth that we would hide. We realize instead it is a truth that keeps us free forever. I am under no laws but God's. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God make free. The light has come because there are no laws but His. The light has come because there are no laws but His. There couldn't be any laws but His. And everything that I imagine that is not of God or that requires defense is made up in my mind. It is not true. You are safe. I am safe. We are free. The light has come because there are no laws but God's. We will begin the longer practice periods today with a short review of the different kinds of laws that we have believed we must obey. These would include, for example, the laws of nutrition, of immunization, of medication, of the body's protection in innumerable ways. Think further. You will believe in the laws of friendship. Believe in the laws of friendship, good relationships, quote unquote, and reciprocity. I had the hardest time when I would write a letter to someone and they wouldn't write back. I was like, how could that be? For the longest time, I had the hardest time. And that's the law of reciprocity, isn't it? Or certainly one aspect of it. You know, I have a story that I've given, and I should read, and I should give back. Or vice versa. Someone gives to me, and I have to give back to them. And I would suggest to you that the idea of giving back is a defense against receiving. The next time somebody gives you something, I challenge you to stand there and simply do nothing. Just receive it. Do not say thank you. Just experiment with that and see what happens. Don't say thank you. Don't say thank you. That's a law of reciprocity. And, I mention that to folks and they'll say, well, that's so rude. I can't do that. Look at how we worship that law of reciprocity. So I challenge you the next time, today, next time someone does something kind, to give something to you, just stand there. Look at them. Don't say anything. Do not give anything back. Just receive. I think you'll be surprised what happens. Perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth what God's and what set forth what is God's and what is yours. That's interesting. A law that says this belongs to God and this belongs to me. I can't be like God. Interesting. Many religions have been based on this. They would not save but damn in heaven's name. Yeah. Yet they are no more strange than other laws you hold must be obeyed to make you safe. Isn't it about that, about being safe? Isn't it about that? Defense. Isn't that the original sin, shall we say. Adam ran and hid. He defended. And that defense is being played out over and over and over again. Where? In your mind. You, I, we are Adam. We are in a habit of defending, and it need not be. We are safe. There are no laws but God's. Dismiss all foolish magical beliefs today and hold your mind in silent readiness to hear the voice that speaks the truth to you. There are no laws but God's. You will be listening to one voice, to one who says, there is no loss under the laws of God. There is no loss under the laws of God. There is no loss under the laws of God. Payment is neither given nor received. You are your Father's son. There's nothing you can do about that. And your Father has given you everything. There's nothing you can do about that in truth. You are under no laws but God's. And his laws are perfect love, safety, eternal life. You're safe. Hear him who tells you this, and realize how foolish are the laws you thought upheld the world you thought you saw. Hear him, I'm going to say that again. Hear him who tells you this, and realize how foolish are the laws you thought upheld the world you thought you saw. It's not there. Then listen further. He will tell you more about the love your Father has for you, about the endless joy he offers you, about his yearning for his only Son, created in his channel, created as his channel for creation, denied to him by his belief in hell. So again, listen further. He will tell you more about the love your Father has for you. He'll tell you about the endless joy he offers you, about his yearning for his only Son, created as his channel for creation, denied to him by his belief in hell, by his belief in separation, by his belief that he's a tiny little body that needs defense, stuck in a tiny little interval of time that's completely hopeless, ashamed. Let us today open God's channels to him, and let his will extend through us to him. Let us today open God's channel to him, and let his will extend through us to him. Thus is creation endlessly increased. His voice will speak of this to us, as well as the joys of heaven, which his laws keep limitless forever. We will repeat today's idea until we have listened and understood that there are no laws but God's. Let us today open God's channel to him, to the Christ. Let his will, the Christ's will, extend through us back to the Christ, as ourselves, to God, as God. Now. We will repeat today's idea until we have listened and understood that there are no laws but God's. Then we will tell ourselves, and as a dedication, with the practice period concluding, I am under no laws but God's. 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 Now. We will repeat this dedication as often as possible at least 4 or 5 times an hour, as well as in response to any temptation to experience ourselves as subject to other laws throughout the day. Any fear, any temptation to defend, any temptation to plan against our demise. Just for today, remember, I am under no laws but God's. Just for today, this moment, I am under no laws but God's. In this moment, only God lives and only life is. I am under no laws but God's now. It is our statement of freedom from all danger and all tyranny, self-inflicted tyranny. Oh, the armies I have invented that would attack me and carry me away. Oh, the imaginations of a world as my enemy in any regard. I am under no laws but God's. That is the truth. I am under no laws but God's. That is the truth. I am under no laws but God's. I am under no laws but God's. That is the truth of myself, of you. I am under no laws but God's. I am under no laws but God's. It is our statement of freedom from all danger and all tyranny. And it's the truth. And it's a truth we will recognize. I'm under no laws but God's. And it's a truth that we do recognize. I'm under no laws but God's. It is our acknowledgement that God is our Father and that His Son is saved. It is our acknowledgement that God is our Father, thank you, and His Son, thank you, is saved. We are safe. I am under no laws but God's. Hope you enjoyed this. I did. Praise God. I am under no laws but God. Pleasure to join with you in the remembrance that we are free and that I suffer only thoughts of limitation that I've self-imposed on myself and on my brother. That's it. I am mistaken about what I am. I am free. I am the Son of God. I am under no laws but God's. I cannot die. You cannot die. We are safe. We are free, and we are designed perfectly to extend the memory of God. It is our joy to be the channel that we were designed to be, to extend creation through all of creation and allow the body form to be used by Him to allow the Christ to be manifest as God Himself folds it into light. And we give up our purpose that we had for it. Amen.